Arsenal have got the here we go for the regista called Martin Zubimendi. He is a phenomenal player. Let's not hate, but we're going to dive into why Martin Zubimendi is a great signing for Arsenal. We have made videos before when he was linked with Liverpool, when he was linked with Manchester City, and of course, beforehand, he was also linked with Arsenal. Now, it's not been easy getting a signing over the line. He's not yet put pen to paper, but 51 million release clause, come on. In this market, this day and age, it is a steal. Whether you like it or not, when you think of sixes all around the planet as it goes, there's not many registas like Martin Zubimendi. Actually, they're more clampers or less all-rounders than someone like him. Perfect replacement for Jorginho, whose legs have absolutely gone. And of course, Thomas Partey, he's going to be taking the reins from him. Probably can play together even. But Arteta's got his man. And now there's not an excuse that it's Arteta signing because Andrea Berta and Arsenal have also been chasing him for a long, long time. Now, you got Real Sociedad midfield in 2025. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps the channel out massively. But regardless, we are here to talk about that man and why he's going to be the flavor of the season. Regardless, look, a lot of you are going to say, oh, look what happened at Old Trafford. You know, he had his showcase, he had the time to shine, but it didn't go as the plan. Look, Real Sociedad, before we get into all of that, hasn't had their greatest of seasons compared to what they usually bring to the table. Zubimendi probably hasn't had his best season either. But one thing we can't deny, the man is a baller and he's a very, very good footballer. Now, there's more to his game than possession. Everyone knows the way he evades a press, just like a Thomas Partey or Jorginho, or even just dribbling past someone. He's got all the tools. But what he adds defensively is what goes over some people's heads. When it comes to aerial duels, he is actually very, very good. When it comes to even blocking shots, being in the right area, you could liken that to a proper defensive midfielder. He's not just the guy that's going to be like Jorginho, where, you know, in possession, you're thriving, but in other areas, you're very much lacking because you run like you got a parachute on. But it's other little bits and bobs. You know, he likes to press very high. Just like Real Sociedad, like to press high into their other areas to make sure they win the ball back. Something similar to what Arsenal do currently in the Premier League. So, profile for profile, that makes sense. I would say when it comes to dribblers, might be a little bit of his weakness, but that's why you got Declan Rice. That's why you got other players who help in and around him. He is someone that you'd want to build around to make sure you can, you know, thrive in all sorts of areas, whether it's the wide spaces or in the middle, because he passes forward. He's the guy that's going to bring the tempo to the game. It might take him a little while to probably get used to the speed of the game, but let's not act like in the Euros, when he had that cover for Rodri, he was the guy that they relied upon. Him, Marino, Nico Williams, even though it hasn't exactly worked out this season at Bilbao, but he was definitely a big mantelpiece for what they deemed obviously as a success, as he brought the trophy home. Not particularly because obviously they beat us by goals. But let's not go back into that. But look, he's not just a possession man. He's also very good defensively. Don't let that go over your heads. Trust me, 51 million, you played the blinder. Some are even comparing it to maybe a shrewd business as McAllister. Getting one over the line against Real Madrid, Xabi Alonso was a keen admirer. You know, someone that actually was back at Sociedad in his time. You'd think that might have been an easy deal, especially with Madrid needing more Spanish players in the ranks. But as he opts for the 3-4-3, that's for another video. Right now, how does Arsenal improve? Yes, they need attackers. I'm sure they're looking at Gyökeres and other pieces like Mateus Cunha, Eze, Lookman, loads of different players that are available right now. But he dramatically improves Arsenal from the fact that in the last 2 seasons, or even 3 seasons, Arsenal always seem to pick up some key injury, whether it's Saka, Saliba, Partey, maybe even Gabriel, right? And you need a great squad if you are to win the Premier League. We're not just in an era where you probably can, like, maybe unlike Leicester, the anomaly where you can have a great 11 and then, you know, and go and win. Even Pep has shown that you need tools and the right tools in every area to win. And he's probably the one manager where you'd think, even with maybe a less of a squad, as long as he's got very key players in certain areas, he'll probably go and win, which he nearly is this season with the FA Cup. But right now, every manager needs perfectionists in pretty much all positions and more. Because when Partey is not there and available, they usually use Rice. And Rice is not really the Arteta 6. Now, if you put Zubimendi into there, now all of a sudden, the speed of the game goes further forward. All of a sudden, Partey's minutes can be managed, who's looking at a new contract at the moment. You need just more than just a great 11. Arsenal have, in my opinion, I don't know if you agree or you don't agree, but they've signed a lot of mid to good players, yeah? Jorginho, he was an okay player for what he was. He's actually been decent for the amount of money he cost. Trossard's good player, off the bench, super sub, whatever you want to call him. Calafiori, the jury's not out yet. He's still got another season. The Kyrgios of the world. But then there's some great players as well. You know, you were talking about Timber, great signing. David Raya, great signing. Declan Rice, great signing. Now, Zubimendi is an absolute unit of a footballer because he just makes everything tick. And you've got to love that about certain individuals. We hate the new era of football. Let's be honest with ourselves. Very pragmatic, very defensively approached. Everything's about the structure. But one thing Arteta's got in mind is probably one of the best structures in the world. When it comes to the speed of the game, in my opinion, Arsenal have regressed heavily. 2 years ago, remember when they first got Zinchenko and Jesus? It was electric. And then you could even say, and you have to admit yourself, that sometimes the tempo of what Arsenal set has been a little bit too sluggish, a little bit too slow. Well, that's why Zubimendi absolutely improves Arsenal tenfold, because he's the one that does that. You go look at Sociedad, the way they get the goals, when they get to Take Kubo and up to Ozabayo up front, you know what he's going to do. He's probably going to put it at the back of the net. They thrive off that pace. This is why they play a high press, high attacking football, because you're going to get goals. That's where he fits in the mold of Arsenal, as I explained previously before. But having him in the team, sometimes you got to approach games differently. Imagine having not just Zubimendi, but also Partey in the same side. You might need that in certain games that you want to dictate, you know, especially these big games. He might be that big game player. And someone like Rice complements him so well. Let's not ignore Thomas Partey's, you know, how brilliant he's been this season. Let's not ignore the performances he's put in for Arsenal, because he's been their best midfielder. But sometimes, you know, age does catch up. Injuries may catch up. And whatever we've explained even beforehand. Zubimendi increases the tempo of all of that. Declan Rice can be his legs if need be. It's not like he's super slow. You know, he's got something about him, but his reading of the game, his IQ. Am I selling it a little bit? Potentially, but from what I have seen in the past of him, he's a brilliant player and he's a brilliant signing. And anyone would be lucky to kind of have him at this moment of time. I just don't feel like we're in a world of amazing sixes that's already developed. We're just waiting for them to become the next best thing. You know, whether it's someone like from my own team, from like Sekou Kone's, or maybe over to the world of Belabers, you know, but like Brian finding gem after gem. Right now, Arsenal can't really afford to wait for someone to become great. You know, maybe the Wanyeris of the world, that's cool, or Lewis Skelly, you can afford that. But in the midfield, in your spine, they need to be ready-made, ready to go, because you're ready to win titles and leagues. And Arsenal fans have grown tired. They've had enough. Some, maybe they're a little bit more patient, which is fair enough. Not telling you how you want to support your team, but you should be excited about this signing. You should be not letting anyone trying to get under your skin. Rivals will tell you over and over again what's wrong with him and what he's not good at, but don't want to include the things that he is good at. At the moment, for me, it's an absolute 10-10. It's a 10-10 signing. What a way to go to start the window, and it has not even opened yet. Now you've got a lot of time to focus on each attacker that you may need to going forward, because you need to spend a lot of time in identifying and securing that. There's no way you need to be chasing a midfielder all summer long like last summer. What a waste of time. There's going to be a few outgoings as well. But anyways, like the video, subscribe. There'll be a next one. It might be for Chelsea. It might be for United. It could be for Liverpool. Who knows? There's a lot of hype around, obviously, Frimpong going to Liverpool at this moment of time. Or Verts rejecting City. Or is there another twist? So anyways, people, stay tuned. Hope you like the video. We go again.